NASCAR had one of the most insane weeks in recent memory, and if you think you already know everything that happened, I promise you, you don't. A first-time winner, a 26-car pileup, a driver who told the truth nobody wanted to hear, and a crew chief change that has everyone asking the same question. Was this really necessary? Stick with me because we are breaking all of it down right now, and trust me, you do not want to tap out early on this one. Before we get into it, if you are new here, hit that subscribe button right now because we cover NASCAR the way it deserves to be covered, no fluff, no filler, just the real story. Alright, let's go! Talladega. Just the name alone is enough to make any NASCAR fan either jump out of their seat with excitement or cover their eyes in pure fear. And this time, Talladega did not disappoint. Actually, that is an understatement. Talladega absolutely delivered chaos, history, heartbreak, and one of the most talked about moments of the entire season all in a single afternoon. Let's start with the crash because if you were not watching live, you missed something that made jaws drop across the entire NASCAR world. Lap 115. The Jack Link's 500 is cooking. Bubba Wallace is out front, running strong, looking like he might finally be the guy on this day. And then in one single moment, everything changed. Ross Chastain came in hot from behind, made contact at the end of the back straightaway, and sent Wallace sideways directly into traffic. Cole Custer had absolutely nowhere to go. The three-wide pack came together and what followed was pure Talladega madness through turn 3. Smoke everywhere, cars spinning, metal flying, the kind of crash that makes your stomach drop even if you were just watching from your couch. When everything finally settled down, 26 out of 40 cars were collected. 26! Let that sink in for a second. Joey Logano, Kyle Larson, Ryan Blaney, William Byron, Ty Gibbs, Daniel Suarez, all of them caught up in it. Even points leader Tyler Reddick got tagged and then took another hit later in the race after cutting a right front tire. But here is the thing about Reddick. The man just refuses to have a bad day. He somehow recovered from all of that and still managed to finish 15th. If you are not already a Tyler Reddick fan, what are you even doing? And speaking of Reddick, we need to talk about what is happening with this guy because it is genuinely historic and I do not use that word lightly. 5 wins in the first 9 races of the season. 5! The last time anyone put up numbers like that in NASCAR was Dale Earnhardt back in 1987. Let that comparison sit with you for a moment. This is not a hot streak. This is something else entirely. This is a driver who is operating on a completely different level than everyone else on the track right now and nobody seems to have an answer for him. Now if you are enjoying this breakdown so far, do me a quick favor and smash that like button right now. It takes 2 seconds and it genuinely helps this channel grow so we can keep bringing you content like this every single week. Alright, back to it. Because while Reddick is out there making history, his own teammate Bubba Wallace is sitting with some very uncomfortable feelings and to his credit, he is not hiding them. Wallace was right there in that lead pack before the crash took him out of contention and afterwards he opened up in a way that most drivers simply never do. He talked about how Reddick passed him like he was on jack stands. He said his team is still missing something. And then he said the line that stopped everyone in their tracks. I want it more. I am pissed that he won. I am getting tired of it. Now listen, some people might read that and think Wallace is bitter or jealous, but that is completely the wrong read. That right there is a driver who is hungry, genuinely and deeply hungry. That is a driver who sees exactly what is happening next to him and is using it as fuel. That kind of honesty in a sport where everyone usually plays it safe with their words? That is actually refreshing. And if Wallace can channel that energy at Watkins Glen coming up on May 10th, a track where he finished 8th last year, he could absolutely be a factor. But now we need to talk about the storyline that has the entire NASCAR community buzzing and honestly divided right down the middle. Kyle Busch and RCR made a change. 10 races into the season, Jim Pullman has been removed from the pit box and Andy Street is now the crew chief of the number 8 car effective immediately. And the timing of this announcement could not have been more surprising because it came right after Busch scored his best finish of the entire season, a 10th place at Talladega after his team repaired damage from that massive crash. A top 10! The first top 10 for RCR as a team all season. And instead of building on that momentum, instead of riding that wave even for a single week, RCR pulled the trigger on a change the very next day. Now look, I understand that RCR had to do something. Busch is sitting 27th in points. He is 66 points out of the last playoff spot. The results simply have not been there and everyone inside that organization knows it. But here's what makes this move complicated. Jim Pullman is not a bad crew chief. His resume over the last few years is legitimately strong. And when you actually look at the number 8 operation this season, the problems have not been coming from the pit box decisions. This feels like someone had to take the fall and Pullman drew the short straw. And that is a tough pill to swallow for a guy who left a stable situation to take on this challenge. Andy Street is not a stranger to this world though. He was actually Busch's crew chief for the final 4 or 5 races of the 2025 season when things were in transition over at that team. So there is some familiarity there, some existing relationship, some baseline to build from. And Street spent time as a competition director at RCR, so he knows the organization from the inside. Whether that translates to better results on the track starting at Texas, that is the real question. And Kyle Busch himself has been refreshingly honest about all of it. He gave a speech to his team at the RCR shop this week. He told them he is all in. He said he has probably worked harder in the last 4 years than he did even during his championship years at Joe Gibbs Racing. He talked about getting the train back on the tracks. He talked about carrying their weight and helping improve the program. Whatever you think about Busch as a driver or as a personality, you cannot question his commitment right now. The man wants to win and he is doing everything in his power to make it happen. Here's what I want you to think about though. Texas Motor Speedway is next. And Texas is a real racetrack, not a super speedway where survival plays as big a role as speed. Texas will tell us a lot about whether this crew chief change makes any real difference or whether the problems at RCR run deeper than one person on the pit box. And Watkins Glen right after that will be another massive test for everyone in this storyline. By the way, if you have made it this far into the video and you have not subscribed yet, what is the holdup? Seriously, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a breakdown like this one. We are here every single week covering the stories that actually matter in NASCAR. Now let's talk about Fox for a second because we cannot have a full Talladega recap without addressing the elephant in the room. Fox had promised earlier this season that all superspeedway races would have side-by-side coverage during green flag laps, meaning no full-screen commercials while the racing was happening. And what did we get during Stage 1 at Talladega? Full-screen commercials. A lot of them. Back to back to back. Now Fox came out after the race and essentially admitted they dropped the ball, saying the first stage going caution-free messed with their intended ad load. And I appreciate the honesty, I really do. The first step is admitting the mistake, but here is the problem. Those commercials were not crammed in because of some emergency situation. They were spread throughout the entire stage. This was not a reaction to something unexpected. This was just Fox not following through on a commitment they made to the fans. And in a sport that is actively trying to grow its audience and bring in new and casual viewers, that kind of broadcast product is genuinely damaging. You cannot tell someone to tune in and then bury the actual racing under a pile of ads. It just does not work. The good news in all of this, and there is genuinely good news, is Carson Hocevar. Because while all of this chaos was unfolding, Hocevar went out and got his first career Cup Series win, and the reaction across the entire NASCAR world has been something special to watch. The celebration, the sponsor connection with Chili's, the energy around his whole team at Spire Motorsports, it all combined into one of those rare moments where you could feel the sport gaining new fans in real time. Chili's posted about it. The diecast from Lionel sold out so fast it crashed their website, and NASCAR's new president Steve O'Donnell came out and personally said the celebration was one of the coolest things he has seen and confirmed it will not be banned. That is the kind of moment NASCAR needs more of, and hopefully it is just the beginning for Hocevar. So let's bring it all together. Reddick is putting up historic numbers and nobody can stop him. Wallace is hungry, honest, and dangerous at the right tracks. Busch and RCR have made their change and now have to prove it was the right call. Fox let down the fans again on a broadcast promise. And a new star might just be rising in the form of Carson Hocevar. Texas is next and then Watkins Glen. And if this week taught us anything, it is that this NASCAR season is absolutely must-watch television, even when the television coverage itself lets us down. If you got value out of this video, leave a like, drop a comment with your hottest take on the RCR crew chief change, and make sure you are subscribed so you are here for every single breakdown this season. I will see you in the next one.